All right, hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm pretty excited to bring you guys a quick review on my new Neyman Armadillo Gauntlets. So, just as a disclosure, I have a friend who's had these for a few weeks now, so I was able to get my hands on those and try those out a little bit and inspect them before I received these ones about a week ago. And since then, I'll be splicing in a little bit of video. I've done some quick tests with them. No real heavy duty sparring just yet. Hopefully this upcoming weekend, I'll get a lot of that in. But from having looked at my friends and having used these ones, they are what I expected them to be. They're very nicely designed. The overall concept of the glove was very smart. The manufacturing so far of these first couple waves of gloves are also well done. So right away, I'm just going to talk about a couple little things I've noticed about the gloves, because the rest of this video will be about the good parts of the gloves. And so far right now, based upon this design and very limited use, there's only a couple areas of immediate improvement to be done on the glove. I posted a short little video on Instagram and linked to Facebook as well, and Neyman has actually responded already and said their next version of gloves, they're already working on designs to fix some of this stuff. So one of the areas, I'll splice in some footage here as well, is this part of the glove right here. You can see if you're holding onto a weapon, especially particularly right above the cross guard, your lower hand probably isn't going to be as much of a concern, but your upper hand will have a little exposed area here which will be exposed to a thrust. Now, it's rare that that will happen, but I actually believe in the past I've been hit there before. So once again, the picture they sent me, they have a solution for that, and it looks perfect. It looks like it's going to solve that problem. The other area is right here. Since this knuckle area doesn't come down to allow full finger articulation, narrower weapons such as like one of my Regines, that they've got a very narrow rolled tip, they'll be able to slip through there. And once again, another easy solution. Just a little bit of rubber hanging down in between the knuckles there will completely stop that. So right now, the minor things that I've found about the gloves with limited use are very minor. And it also looks like they're already fixing those things for the next generations of glove, which is great. The speed of which they are listening to people giving reviews is also very commendable for Neyman right now. So the couple areas about this glove is it's been designed with an inner glove design, which I'll try to splice in some footage as well. And the inner glove can come out. That way, if the glove wears out and wears thin and you start getting holes in it, you can just put another glove in. Or if you don't like the glove they send and you have a better glove to put in, you can do so. If you want a thinner glove, a thicker glove, you can get some of those Workman hammer gloves that have all the padding on top. More than this glove even has if you think you need more protection. So it's versatile that way. They've also made it so like everything on here should be replaceable and maintainable. You can send it to them or you can try to do it yourself. They give you a bag of extra threading and materials to actually maintain the glove, which is also very nice. So when I'm doing some heavy duty testing of these gloves over the next few months, the one area I'm going to really focus is the actual exposed threads. We do a lot of sword work, not just sparring, but we do a lot of drilling, and lots of times we do a lot of finding of the blade, and we do a lot of just things that sometimes cause the sword to just glance by and go past your sword. Sometimes we'll work on provocations with hits to the hands and that sort of things, where we'll hit the fingers quite a bit in the training, never harder or whatnot, but I'm just curious at how much these threads are going to hold up to edges, especially swords that got little burrs on them and they're not in the best condition going across the threads all the time. So that's going to be one area I'm going to focus on, because so far this area of the glove has been pretty rock solid. I took a couple good hits to this part of the glove, and this, I mean, I could tell I got hit and I could hear it, but I barely felt that at all. My area of concern with all 5-finger type gloves is how much the fingers are going to protect you. So right now I can say for light to medium blows, these are actually really nice. They glance off just by the way they're designed. They're kind of like scales, right? So they just, everything seems to slide off. I took a couple direct hits to it as well, and it did the job and I didn't really feel them. So I'm going to be curious when I'm doing a lot of sparring and sparring against opponents who you don't know who they are. I'm going to wait for that moment where I get one of those direct cuts kind of along this line here when you're gripping onto something and see how well it does at that point. I think those are the two areas of concern I have with the glove. When you put your thumb in here, sometimes this and your thumb can slide in and out of here. So one thing I wouldn't mind seeing is maybe the thumb. The other fingers you don't need it, but maybe the thumb having a little bit of a cap on it. It doesn't have to be very, very far. It probably could literally be like a, 3 or 4 millimeters, but just something that your thumb can kind of just rest on. Not far enough that you'll still lose the feeling of this area of your thumb, but I think it could stick out enough that just the very tip of your thumb kind of clips right in there. That's just one other area of improvement I've noticed. Now, let's get to what's really great about the gloves. So what I really liked about the gloves already, which I was a little concerned about, was their design for the fingertip. As you can see, it cups over right there, the finger. And I thought, well, that's going to be weird when holding something to have something cupping over the finger like that. But I also thought that's actually kind of an ingenious design to protect the little fingers. I can say now from having used it with long swords, fetters, one-handed weapons, this is actually a really unique design, and I'm very curious to see how protective it's going to be in the long run. Your finger still manages to curl around the weapon, while this then curls around the weapon with your finger, and it keeps your finger perfectly capped the whole time, no matter what you're doing with your fingers. Sometimes I've had a tendency to have my finger kind of slip, and a couple of these, particularly on the bottom of the hand when I'm using a fetter, they can sometimes turn. Now, I don't know if there's a way around that, but you can see it doesn't take much effort to turn them. So I did notice a couple times after doing some light sparring that I'd have to kind of readjust one or two of them every now and then. I don't know if there's a way around that, but I think that's sort of a trade-off for if these will work as well as I think they will. So one side effect of having the inner glove is these gloves are a little tedious to take on and off. If you leave the glove in there, well, first of all, you can see here, and by some stuff I'll splice in, that the fingers are held in by elastic bands. So you can imagine if you pull the glove out, how long it takes to thread your fingers back in there. It's a two-hand job in order to do, so you have to re-thread them in there, and then, a couple minutes later you have the gloves in there. So if, for instance, you're in a tournament environment and you need to throw your glove off really quickly and your inner glove accidentally came out, you're probably going to need a squire there with you to help you get your gloves back on, and it might take a couple minutes. So highly recommended. If you don't have time, keep the inner glove in. But once you have it all set, and once they've been broken in just a little bit of sweating on the inside will help. It doesn't take too long here, if you see, to get your fingers in. My right one is a little bit tighter, just because of my hand in general. You can see that's not very difficult to get your hand in. And I'll grab the other one. It's a little awkward to do the second glove by yourself because you have this annoying thumb and finger going on here. So you have to get your hand in and then get your thumb gripped in there. And then you're in. So as long as the inner glove is in there, it doesn't take very long at all to get your hands in. Getting them out is another story. You need to, because these are pretty tight because of the elastic bands, and particularly when your hands get sweaty and the gloves kind of stick to them, they can be a little awkward to take off and still manage to keep the fingers in the elastic bands. So you got to be a little bit kind of careful with, shaking your fingers out, and then it'll come out. Now, when my hands are a little bit wetter, once again, that doesn't come out quite that easy. But nevertheless, that's the method you have to use. So once the gloves are on, they're very mobile. And you can see they do offer a lot of protection with these overlapped, essentially scales they've put on here. And you can see what I mean by the fingertips, how they curl right over your fingers. So one thing that's awkward is picking anything up from the ground with these, because essentially your fingertips are up here, and then you have can I even show that properly? You can see how much it curls over your fingers. So when you go to try to pick something off the ground, you just like basically scrape the tips of these on the ground and you pick nothing up. So you have to develop a new method of picking up your sword if it's on the ground. Yeah, so this is the gloves here, and I was really overdue. As you can see, I Frankensteined the crap out of these 5-finger sparring gloves to make them worthwhile, right? And it came down to a point where, yeah, I was due for some new gloves. And I took a couple injuries from these gloves. I probably used these gloves more than I should have. I took a couple unnecessary finger issues, injuries with this glove that I probably shouldn't have. So I'm glad I now have these and I can test these out. I'll keep this video short here and I'll focus on some really good tests and whatnot for the next few months, and then I'll have a really good long-term review coming out for these. So please look for that video coming out. Check out anything else I've got. I've got Feder reviews down below. I work a lot, so I usually can only post like maybe one video a month if I'm lucky, but I'm going to try to start posting some more. So thanks for tuning in, and look for some more videos from me in the future. Thank you.